All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Monday, September 11th. Tough date. Welcome back to Chart Talk, guys. We're dealing with a choppy market here, back and forth. There's definitely a lot of longs, definitely a lot of shorts out there. So without further ado, let me get into the market outlook. I got the S&P up on the screen. Okay, here's the SPY. Obviously, April, May, June, we consolidated around that 420, 410 for months. Led to this huge breakout phase. Now, since we've been in this, sort of distribution phase or consolidation phase, however you want to refer to it, it's just been a lot of choppy back and forth action, especially end of summer into September. September, seasonally the weakest month of the year by far. It's the only negative month out of every month, going back in the history of the stock market. So, my one piece of advice is just, expect the chop and be ready to trade both ways if you're doing things actively. So, let's take a closer look at the SPY here. All right, so we had this kind of downtrend breakout a few weeks back. Now, if we remember this day right here, this was the exciting day where the night before NVIDIA had earnings, market gapped up, completely sold that move off, just really trapped market participants. And that Friday led to that huge bounce when everyone was kind of flat-footed. Since then, we've been just digesting that move. We've backed into this kind of previous support area. And then we're seeing a bounce from here. We're seeing a lot of strength in tech today, and it's mostly because of this Tesla upgrade. So Tesla, we got involved here. It was the trade of the week through 240. We bought that one here, and we weren't sure if this, this little coil area was, going to be another flag for the next move higher, or if it was potentially going to be, a head and shoulders type short situation. Got that upgrade today. I think it was Morgan Stanley upgrade to like 400 or something, some huge upgrade based on their artificial intelligence tech, something like that. I didn't look too into it. I sold 2/3 of what I have remaining on the move. I'm just going to, keep a stop below 260 here for the rest. But, that ignited the tech stocks. So we're seeing now, we saw the Qs, kind of break that similar descending channel right here, pushed up, retested the level, and then we got a very, very bullish action on the NASDAQ today. So we gapped up, big gap up in the morning. Let me go to a 15-minute here. So we got that big gap up in the morning, and you know how much we hate buying Monday morning gap ups because we so often see the gap filled. What happened today was gapped up big, tried to push up, came in all morning, based out, and then very, very, very strong push towards the end of the day. Now, given the context of us back testing this, little channel and us kind of coming into this resistance area, that is very, very strong action. Very, very positive action to see if you're a bull. So now the next resistance area becomes, the previous highs, 381 area. So I'm just anticipating chop. I'm definitely looking at trades in both directions, long and short. No huge bias for a short-term direction. I think this could be negated tomorrow if we made a breakout towards highs. That wouldn't surprise me too. I just want to put myself in a position to make money on individual plays. I don't want to overthink about the market right now. So buying stocks that show me they're strong, selling stocks that show me they're weak. So that's my broad market outlook. What are you thinking over there?
Me. Second. All right. So very similar. Again, in this week's newsletter, we tried to highlight, this bullish wedge that we, saw form. I'm starting to see forming in the broader markets and a lot of the, sectors themselves. I saw this in the S&P. We talked about this. We saw this in tech. We saw this in Dow 30. We saw this in telecom stocks. We saw this in the healthcare sector as well. So we're seeing this bullish wedge forming, and I drew it out over here in the SPY. And again, like this is the example of it. And, it looks, again, it's still forming, and we don't expect it to do exactly how this pattern is formed, but you can see the similarities in what the market has been doing compared to what this pattern is. And this, like you mentioned, just this little contraction, kind of trade the market either way. With you 100% on that. I think we're going to, continue to kind of consolidate within this range. And I think by the end of the year or into the new year, we'll hopefully push out of this and continue into, the later part of a breakout stage back to new all-time highs. So the only two sectors I think we really should be avoiding in the short term right now really just seems to be the utility stocks along with the REIT stocks. Those seem to be just the weakest ones to avoid. Again, the REITs are just really kind of basing out when the utility stocks are just, Hing over to all-time low or 52-week lows. There are definitely a handful of charts out there that look pretty good. I put a couple orders in today, so I'm keeping a close eye on this SNPS through this 465 area. This blue sky breakouts, all-time highs. Tech name, very tight risk here. Risking $15 in a $460 name, so very tight risk on this one. This VMW. I don't know if you mentioned this one in the shakedown or if this was a member idea from a few weeks ago. But again, this VMW has been basing out for quite some time. As I zoom out here, going back to 2020, this level has been resistance. We can see major attempt here back in 2020, second attempt, third attempt, fourth attempt more recently, and then after earnings, a fifth attempt. So the more attempts at this major base increases the likelihood that it should break out, continue higher. And this is the time we've seen the tightest range BMW is traded in when it's been at this resistance level. So keep an eye on this big base break. I've been setting it for almost 3 years now. A few other ones. We have this O'Reilly. It failed today. Again, you mentioned before, we try to avoid these Monday morning gap ups. So, O'Reilly opened basically at the trigger and just kind of sold off the entire day. Why we try to not chase Monday morning gap ups. But the next time this O'Reilly can get back up here through 960, I would have no problem looking to buy that one through this all-time high-ish area. Again, it did push through here back in July, but we can see that this is, been acting as resistance for, the pretty much most of the summer. We have this SAIA through 440. I think this was a member idea from a few weeks ago. Again, blue sky breakout through this all-time high. Trucking company, again, about 4% risk versus the current pivot low versus 420. And again, I threw an order for your trade of the week, this RCL through 100. So I'll be joining you on that trade as well. So definitely some good charts there, even if the market is going to continue to consolidate in the short term. There definitely are still some great charts out there in various sectors. Again, with energy, selling off a little bit today, but definitely was one of the leaders. Hasn't really been in that consolidation pattern as most of the other sectors have been. But we'll see if this is like, just a one-day sell-off, or if this is the shorter-term top in this sector after the run-up it's been on. So that's kind of my little take on my top ideas for the week ahead.
Nice. I was in that Exxon. Speaking of energy names, I just sold it today based on that candle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went through a lot of the energy. Like I went through the energy watch list, and it just looked very weak broadly. Like the sector itself looks very strong, but under the hood, like scanning through the 100+ energy names, I kind of keep a close eye on. It seemed like there was a little bit more weakness, underlying with some of the names. So maybe this is like a little shorter term top in that sector after the run it's been on.
Yeah, I mean, could be. It usually gave us a nice little swing, so it's like going on, give it all back. Trying to get that extra little bit of profit, especially in this choppy market. So Dave's looking at. So you mentioned what you just mentioned, RCL.
Yeah,
I'm waiting on that one through 100. This one I really like. I wanted to make this trade of the week, but it closed really poorly last week, and it kind of gives me like it's tough to do like target trigger stuff when Lulu has this kind of candle Friday. So this is really one of my favorite names out. So Lulu. What do I like so much about it? So we can see on a very micro aspect, we see the earnings move here. We see this, consolidative, slow drift downward as this, 8-day simple moving average gets caught. Remember, we love buying earnings names that gap up off the 8-day moving average. It's a great setup. Go on a longer term basis. What's it gapping up to? Huge macro resistance level. It's got the earnings power. So now, we're buying off support. I just bought right here in this 398 area against these lows, 392.50. So that's my favorite long, really, going into the week. I don't like that RCL as much, just kind of the way it's set up. Another one is this Autodesk. So this one needs some time too, but it's just very similar in that, all right, strong earnings move, kind of creating that secondary flag up here. And then, we look at the level, it's creating that flag. it's just massive,
Had to say it.
massive base resistance. Yeah, like so this
See it.
is really, really, really good setup. Really, really, really good. So definitely keep some eyes on that one. This IoT, I want to highlight this IoT as much as possible. I really don't want us to miss this one. It's just that new IPO name. It stands for Internet of Things, right theme in the AI space and things like that. Just had these earnings, great move on earnings. Now it's kind of creating the secondary flag. Again, we see the 8-day catching up here. I'm not ready to buy it off yet, just based off the eye test. Just
Mhm.
it got to this resistance level too quickly. The real out is all the way down here at this $26. But again, this is the name we definitely want to highlight. Another one I have my eye on is this ARRY. So we've been talking about this great resistance area, resistance level, weekly, monthly chart looking good. Oops, wrong button. Weekly, monthly looking good. But last week when we talked about it, we're like, oh, we don't want to buy it up here. It's getting a little bit ahead of itself, right?
Mhm.
Now, nice little pull in. It's going to start to digest this. Hopefully, it creates one of these little tight little flags right here and gives us an entry up through 25 soon. And then I've got a bunch of short setups. So here's what I really, really want to highlight about the market right now. I think very, very, very big inflection point for semiconductor stocks is happening right now. So on the newsletter, I had this AMD as a short. I also have this LRCX as a short. Okay. Here is the inflection point I'm seeing. And these are the adjustments I didn't really make as much as I should have last year. So I'm trying to learn off them. Um, in the trading community, you see a lot of the same charts. You see a lot of people looking at the same things. I've seen a million people looking at this downtrend break in AMD or this
Mhm.
potential downtrend break. You see the chart, you see the downtrend, blah, blah, blah. Friday, tried to push up towards that level and got pretty, vehemently rejected. So I had a short setup today through 105. Didn't take it. I took LRCX. But this little area, okay, I think this little area in AMD, whichever way, if the buyers want to step up, break this downtrend, or if sellers want to puke this thing, I think it's going to be the key for all these tech stocks, all these chip stocks. NVIDIA, same thing. It's at this previous support level. Either it, bounces off this area, rips higher, or just absolutely pukes. Same with this LRCX. This is the one I'm short. See this huge support area, gave us a nice little move down lower today. Buyers stepped up towards the end of the day with the strong NASDAQ. Is this move ready to reverse off this support level and rip back to highs? Or are we going to see these names puke? And I think we get a lot more information on that in the next 2 days. So, I keep saying be flexible in your thinking. I would be willing to go long this AMD over 112. I'd be looking to reshort it if I saw another failure, things like that. So I just think in the semi space, we're going to have this inflection point come to fruition. And when you were talking, I was doing some live trading. BIIB just hit it. Just hit it short right here. Boom, right here. There's 258.50 right here. Level will stop again over this 262. We see this little area. We go on a weekly chart. Just got a lot of room to the downside. This thing wants to puke. So I just hit that BIIB now. I like this MTH. I got short this one with Jay. This is another one that's a huge inflection point. I'm starting to see maybe mini. Maybe I'm working this one a little too hard. Just a mini little head and shoulders for me. Very thin name, so tougher to trade. But what I love is this bear flag on the 100-day moving average. It loses this little support line. I feel like it's just gonna dart down to this 200-day moving average. So
Mhm.
positioning myself for that one, be a nice cheap risk entry, 133 against 137, target 120, little 3-to-1 trade on your hands. Yeah, and that was really it. That's what I'm focusing in on. Those few things. I'm very curious to see the way AMD, NVIDIA, LRCX, all these chip names, how they respond to these inflection points. So that's the number one thing on my radar. I think we're just dealing with a back and forth market. I don't, I'm not. We could be up or down 10% in the next few weeks. Nothing would surprise me.
Mhm.
But that's really where I've got my focus right now. Anything else you want to touch on? Anything?
I think we covered it.
All right, nice little day back in the saddle, huh? All right, guys. Well, do us a favor, give us a like, subscribe. You got any questions for us? Leave a little comment, review. We appreciate all that stuff. And other than that, have a good week. We'll see you guys next week.